The ground up virtual wholesaling for beginners in 2024. Guys, my name is Rick Ginn, and today we're going to talk about how a beginner can attack virtual wholesaling, how to get started, the steps to take. Let's get into it. But before I do it, do me a favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button so you can continue to receive the best information on wholesaling today. So you want to get into virtual wholesaling. The first thing you have to ask yourself, why am I taking this route? Most likely, if you're picking virtual wholesaling, you might be in a market that's just too ripe. It's too mature, meaning the price points are way above the average US household price, and you need to find a market where you can actually have success. So if you're stuck in San Fran, Miami, Manhattan, or extreme markets like this, you do have to consider virtual wholesaling. And the good news is you have more tools available with technology than ever before. And why be confined to your own backyard? Now, I'm a huge advocate of wholesaling in your backyard. I will never talk badly about it because I think everybody can find a deal within their backyard because you're extremely familiar with it. But there comes a time where we have to go and find other success when prices start to approach extreme numbers, because the reality is the higher the price point is, the harder it is to wholesale. And it's because the sellers get more sophisticated and they want to rely on brokers and agents. Listen, I didn't write these rules. That's just the reality of it. If I thought I could just flip multi-million-dollar houses via wholesaling, I would do it. But the reality is that doesn't typically work for wholesaling. They are far and few between. So if you're diving into virtual wholesaling, we have to find the parameters on how to find the best market. So your first step is to locate the correct market. Now, the two biggest factors you want to consider when considering virtual wholesaling are what is the average population, and what you're looking for is 100,000 plus. I know it's a big number, but the reality is once you have 100,000 people in a market, it is established. That means there's a ton of inflow in there and there is a huge market for cash buyers. If you go below 100,000, you can go below it, but you want to stay close to it. If you get down to populations of like 20 and 30,000, there's just only so many cash buyers in that market, and it's going to take a lot of time, which is going to increase your risk. That's why we want you to find success with a population of 100,000 or more. And that also means there's going to be tons and tons of opportunity. So if you're consistent with your wholesaling marketing, you should have plenty of activity in these types of markets. The second factor is going to be the average home price in that market. Now, what are we looking for? What I like to do is find the success of average prices in a market of under 400,000. Honestly, the lower, the better to a point. But there statistically is once you get above 400,000, a lot of these deals wind up in real estate agents' hands and brokers' hands just because it's a level of sophistication. And I don't fight it anymore. I've been doing this 21 years. It's much more challenging to wholesale a higher priced house because most people want to take them to the market and they want to get someone to help them do it. So don't fight it, embrace it. I want you to find average median prices under 400,000. 250 is a real sweet spot if you can stay around that. Why? Because the lower the price, the more affordable it is. And these types of homes, honestly, the sellers wind up being less sophisticated. And when they have a problem, they need instant help. And a lot of times realtors can't help them in this case. So we're going to focus on population 100,000 or more and price points 400,000 and less. Obviously, the sweet point is usually between, I don't like to go above like 250, 275, but as time goes on in these videos, these numbers will go up. So make sure you do the calculation according if you're watching this video years down the road. But as of right now, we're in 2024. These are the two criteria we want to start out with. Now, what tools do I use to locate the market? So let's start with the easiest one, first of all. What I like to do is I love to reverse engineer other wholesalers' work. Why? Because if you want to use your ego and brag about your market and tell me how successful and great you do, which unfortunately is a huge problem with wholesalers because I used to do it too, is you draw attention to yourself. And then what happens is I'm going to get on your cash buyers list because I know you don't vet it because you took a course from a guru and he told you to go get as many cash buyers as possible. And you did exactly what he said or she said. And I'm on your cash buyer list. You're showing me properties for sale. You're actually showing me pictures and you're showing me price points. Honestly, you just pointed me to all the gold in wholesaling I need. What I need to do is go one step further, and I'm going to verify on property appraisers records that what they're representing is actually true. And after you check them out for a while and you find out they're legitimate and their success is recent, find those zip codes and start investigating that market. And that's, brutally honest, that's how I do most of my virtual wholesaling market. It's 100% legal. And honestly, I ride the backs of wholesalers that don't understand the power of shutting their mouth with their ego. The more you brag, the more I'm going to find deals in your own backyard, wherever it is. So use the stuff that's already put out for you, but here's the key difference. You have to verify this information. Don't take their word for it. Check it out. You can track the sale of any property on anyone's cash buyers list. It's really easy to do. This is where, and then what I'll do is I'll get 3 or 4 spots where I'm finding success. Now, if you want to find these people, just go in any type of Facebook investor group, look on Craigslist ads, and then they all have a link to get on their cash buyers list. None of them ever vet it. At the worst, they have a VA call and they don't know the right questions to ask. So get on that list and let other people dig the gold for you. Keep in mind, it is expensive finding these markets, so if someone else can lay the work out, why not take advantage of it? The next tool you can use is REI List. And you can go to reilist.com, and that's basically a paid subscription we do through PropStream. Very valuable, under $100 a month. And you can go in there and research the cash sales in that market. They have some more sophisticated tools and show you where growth is going and hot spots. But I find that a little bit dated. The most important is pull up the cash sales for the last 6 months in a given market. You can do a radius, you can do a zip code, you can do a city. Very, very valuable information. And honestly, you're going to need reilist.com anyways, because it's a great place to run comps, to do research on the property, find out what's going on with it. Honestly, it's a tool I've used for, I think we're going on 4 years in our current markets and virtual market. I thought it at first, but to be honest with you, it's been a blessing in our business, and they're extremely reputable companies. So check it out at reilist.com. The next one is you can go to ListSource. Now, ListSource is owned by CoreLogic, and it's an a la carte list service that you can go online. The cool part is it doesn't cost a dime to do this, and you can go in there and you can actually research the amount of cash buyers in a given market without actually paying for the data. Now, I did an entire video on this, and eventually ListSource will pull it down, because every time I share a secret, they pull it down. But you can at least get how many cash buyers per zip code by using their suppression data list at the very end. Do some research. I did an entire video on this. I did it on a live and I did a recorded video. But you can use ListSource to find out where the activity is. So I don't want you to pay for that data. So if I have a zip code and it shows 19 cash sales in the last 3 months, and every other county is like 1 or 2, that's a county I'm going to go attack, or a zip code I'm going to attack. You can break it down county, zip code, city, or you can do a radius. It is a wonderful tool, and it's at your discretion for free. So you can check that out. You can even call their 1-800 number. They'll walk you through on how to do it. It's a little bit painful, but honestly, if you don't know how to do it, you can easily do that. I am not a data expert. I just know how to use services to help me find the best markets to attack. So at this point, hopefully you've established your market. The next step you have to attack is what is going to be your marketing list. Now, you have several options here. Being virtual marketing, you have to figure out what works for you. So me and Zach always recommend pulling the government list. Pre-foreclosures, evictions, probates, code violations, fire damage properties, arrest records, water shutoffs. But it can be challenging to do it in a virtual market, because if you're not in person, it's easy to get rejected on email, and it's really easy to get rejected on the phone. So understand, if you don't have online access to some of this information, it's going to be touch and go in the government list. Remember, to overcome resistance, you have to beat it with persistence. Be patient, be nice. You're not going to get everything you ask for, but why not swing the bat, charm people, and use your rapport building skills to get these government lists? Because if you go get these government lists, you have an extreme advantage over other wholesalers trying to penetrate that market. Because let's face it, guys, most people give up the first time they get rejected. You have to be the exception to the rule. Don't whine about getting the list. If you go after 5 or 6 lists and you get 2 or 3, you are well on your way to finding amazing wholesaling deals. The other way, which we talked about a little bit earlier, is through reilist.com. Once again, it's a paid service. It's a very nominal amount of money. But honestly, in virtual wholesaling, you really need this tool bad because you are unfamiliar with the market. And if it's a challenge to get government lists. So here's what I want you to tack on these lists. You're going to go after high equity. If you go on the freewholesaling.com, me and Zach teach you the exact filters you're going to use. You're going to use the pre-probate under the filter selection on there. It is a pre-designated list. This basically tags anyone that has a property in that county that there's a registered death certificate, and it is a phenomenal list. You only have to pull that one about once every quarter. You can also pull the vacant list, which you can get in listrei.com. So through PropStream, you can pull the vacants, the high equity, and the pre-probates. Guys, these are wonderful lists to draw on. How often to pull those? I pull one every other quarter, depending on what volume you're going to do, but at least once every 3 months, pull that data. And also, guys, one of the easiest lists to access the government list is going to be the pre-foreclosures. Why? Because it's a public lawsuit and the counties can't hide it even if they want to. You've got to go to their foreclosure department to find out how to get access to those lists. The next step is you just got to choose your marketing medium. And this is the technique you're going to use to reach out and make an offer to your sellers. Now, it depends on your budget and your skill sets. A lot of you are still working on this. The most popular one's going to be cold calling, which basically you have to skip trace and get their phone number. And we have a wonderful service through dmzac.com, and you can get skip tracing pretty much unlimited and free with your Deal Machine account. Guys, this has really changed the game in wholesaling, and I would take a look at it, especially if you're doing virtual wholesaling, dmzac.com. You can also do the SMS campaigns, which are basically texting your leads. And if you want to learn more how to do that, go over to freewholesaling.com. We'll show you how to do that. And then the third option is going to be direct mail. I prefer you have some experience. You have at least 5 deals under your belt before you dive into direct mail, because you have to learn how to talk to sellers. You have to learn how to overcome objections. And most importantly, you got to learn the confidence and the persistence it takes to be successful in wholesaling real estate. Oh, and last but not least, you can also do virtual driving for dollars. You can go through and actually comb through Deal Machine. It's actually pretty cool. And you can drive around virtually online and find distressed properties. There's a lot of people having success with that. I would check that out at dmzac.com. Really cool feature. Plus you get your skip tracing with it, and you can use it for driving for dollars, and you can use it for bird dog generating. Guys, these are really cool tools, and they are an absolute necessity when it comes to virtual wholesaling. Now, a couple tips here I want you to understand. When you go into virtual wholesaling, the downside is you are unfamiliar with the market. So there's going to be a bit of a learning curve because all real estate is local. And if you know that, you can't compare your local market pricing to your virtual market. And honestly, it's going to hurt you if you do that. So one of the things you do, it does take a little bit of time to understand the pricing in these markets, because a lot of you guys are going to much cheaper markets than what you live in, and you're in a little bit of culture shock. That why our house is 70% cheaper here, because it's a whole different geographic area. All real estate is local. So one of the things I want you to do to protect yourself is when you find a motivated seller, put the property under contract on the phone. You can use a DocuSign. You can mail them the documents. You have to put it under contract before you send somebody out to look at it. It's going to protect your time. It's going to protect you from the tire kickers. And honestly, I tell them, listen, I can't move forward with the paperwork until we have a signed contract, and then I'd be happy to send somebody out to look at the property. That's when you're going to put like boots on the ground. You get some people to help you. And if you don't have any familiarity in that market, you can recruit people just to take pictures for you, to drive around and do some things for you to make sure you have a good wholesale deal. So if you understand that, make sure you get these contracts signed. And here's a little tip. Have them on the phone when you're doing a DocuSign to make sure they sign, because this will avoid the procrastination. And remember, make sure you prep all your sellers to make a commitment. And if you want to learn on how to do that, go over to freewholesaling.com. We teach you the entire acquisitions process. We teach you not only how to do it locally, but how to do it virtually, freewholesaling.com. Guys, let me know in the comments, are you doing virtual wholesaling? Did you take these simple steps to evaluate your market and get started right away? Let me know in the comments. And as usual, if you got value from this video, do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button so you can continue to receive the most up-to-date information on wholesaling today. Guys, this is Rick Ginn, and I'll see you in the next video.